Hey guys, and welcome back to Ripton Farm. We're back with Daphne the dumper today, which is our budget restoration series. If you haven't seen the previous videos, then I'll put a link in the description and you guys can go and check those out. Finally, if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing. So guys, I've just got up here and I'm pleased to say that that tyre and that tyre, which we pumped up, that was now around about 2 weeks ago, are still holding air, so that's really good news. We have our starting handle and a can of Easy Start. I was talking to a couple of people online and I got some really good advice actually. One piece of advice was use the Easy Start. It makes it 20 times easier to get these things started, especially when they've been sat a while. The other one was regarding the compression, that when this lever here has been sat up, I'll show you what that lever does. That lever basically, you can't see it right now because the piston is slightly down, but that lever basically pushes down on this end and opens the valve so that there's no compression. And people said 9 times out of 10, when it's been sitting, that lever, that valve, sorry, can get stuck down. And once you start turning it over with some force, that will just break loose and get any crud out of that valve. So that's really good news. I have sprayed the injector here with WD-40, and I've also sprayed these gubbins with WD-40 just to make sure they're all loose. And I also put some WD-40 on this and down there on the crankshaft. One other thing we need to check is that there's no debris in here, and in fact there's nothing at all in there, so, but it looks reasonably clean, a bit greasy but reasonably clean. I did put some fuel in, some fresh fuel, so that's all ready to go. The only other thing we need to do before we can start properly turning this thing over and seeing if it's going to fire is to crack this open and just check we're getting fuel. So let's do that first. And I've just noticed we're actually missing this leak off pipe here, so we'll have to sort that out. That came undone very easily. That's thanks to that WD-40 that I sprayed on there. So hopefully what we're going to see when I crank this over is we're going to see some fuel coming out of here. And I haven't actually tried this handle yet. Oh yeah, that fits lovely. So let me go ahead and crank this thing. And I think we have fuel. Can you see that down there? Which is surprising really, because that was very loose. I was expecting to have to pump that for a fair while longer, but there's definitely fuel coming out of that. So I guess the next thing really is to start cranking this over and see if it's going to fire. Here we go. Well, we had a little bit of smoke, so it's definitely getting fuel. And I've just noticed it had compression there. That's awesome. So that means that we didn't have a problem at all. I wonder if, because we were turning it so slowly, before. Maybe it just wasn't building anything up, or maybe there was a tiny leak in there. But let's give that another go, because that definitely had a bit of smoke there. Okay guys, well, I've been cranking that for a while now and it's just not firing. Definitely does have compression, which I'm surprised about. So we're gonna have a go with this. Woo! It's running. That does not sound good. Oh, that sounds a bit better. That sounds a lot better. You can see it firing all sorts of crud out of there. That is very smoky, but let's see if it drives. Goes into gear alright. Woo! It lifts! That was so much easier to start than I was expecting it to be. With that easy start, I suppose it's in the name, isn't it? But that is still very smoky, and the revs do seem to be very high as well. I suspect that it'll be something to do with down here. Woo! Definitely need to get that exhaust on. That was absolutely bonkers loud. And when we got the horses around here, to be fair, they didn't actually seem to react too much, but it does start. Very smoky. My feeling is I'm not 100% sure, but on a modern vehicle, that would usually be the injector's fault. And just the fact that I just tapped that and that was loose there. We're going to start the engine and try turning this nut to see if that makes any difference. What that does is there's a spring in here. What that nut does is it pushes down on that spring. It needs more pressure to be able to fire the fuel through the injector. So I wonder if, because that cap was loose, maybe somebody has been fiddling with that. So I'll get the engine started again, and then we'll fiddle around with that and see if that makes a difference. I mean, as you saw, I turned it pretty much all the way in and pretty much all the way out, and it didn't seem to make a single bit of difference at all. So I would say this injector needs to come out, and we need to do a spray test, or I call it a pop test, but I'm actually going to crank the engine and hope that the pressure pops that loose. And that's still not loose. Well guys, I've been toiling with that for about half an hour now, and I just can't get it off. So I might be doing something wrong. Somebody might be able to tell me what to make it easier, but I do have a friend who's got a injector puller kit, so like a slide hammer thing. So I think I'll wrap this up for today, try and get that off of him, and try and get that injector out, and then we can do a whole nother video on sort of, well, taking a look at that injector. We do actually have the other one in the other engine, which I don't know if that works, but it might be an idea just to pull that one out and put it in here, just to see if it runs any better, if this one's bad. But yeah, I hope you guys like the video. I'm absolutely thrilled that it started. Really pleased by that. So if you did like this, then please consider subscribing, please consider liking, and I'll see you soon.